Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem issued a directive in January 2025. It sent shockwaves through FEMA and the agencies it supports. The directive ordered a halt to federal funding. This funding was destined for non-governmental organizations or NGOs providing aid to migrants. However, the directive lacked clarity. It failed to address funding for state and local governments also assisting with the migrant crisis. This omission created immediate confusion within FEMA. Career officials struggled to interpret the directive's scope. Many worried about the legal and humanitarian implications of withholding funds. State and local governments reliant on federal support were left in limbo. They needed clear guidance on how to proceed with migrant assistance programs. The lack of clear instructions from DHS created a chaotic environment. Adding to the confusion, acting DHS General Counsel Joseph Mazzara issued guidance. Mazzara's guidance contradicted the initial directive. He confirmed that FEMA should continue payments. These payments were for state and local government programs, including those providing housing for migrants. This conflicting information only deepened the sense of uncertainty within FEMA. The situation escalated quickly. The lack of clear direction from DHS leadership had immediate consequences. It put FEMA in an impossible position, caught between conflicting directives. This confusion would have lasting impacts. It eroded trust between political appointees and career officials at FEMA. This distrust would continue to plague the agency in the weeks to come. The chaos surrounding Noem's directive was only the beginning. In February 2025, the saga took another turn. The situation in New York City became a flashpoint. New York City is a major entry point for migrants. The city had received over $80 million in federal grants. These funds were earmarked for migrant shelters. The city relied on this money, struggling to cope with the influx of people. However, the funds were abruptly clawed back. This clawback came after personnel from the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, flagged the payments. DOGE, a newly created entity, is headed by tech entrepreneur Elon Musk. DOGE was tasked with identifying government waste. However, its involvement in FEMA's operations raised eyebrows. Critics saw it as an overreach of authority. The clawback of funds from New York City had severe consequences. It left the city scrambling to fill a massive budget shortfall. Mayor Adams publicly criticized the move, calling it cruel and counterproductive. The situation highlighted the growing tension between the federal government and cities on the front lines of the migrant crisis. The incident also raised serious questions about DOGE's role. The agency's intervention in FEMA's grant-making process was unprecedented. It signaled a potential shift in power dynamics within the federal government. Many worried about DOGE's lack of experience in disaster management. They also questioned its ability to make informed decisions about complex humanitarian crises. The situation within FEMA reached a boiling point in February 2025. 4 high-ranking FEMA employees were abruptly fired. Among those dismissed was Mary Comans, FEMA's chief financial officer. Comans was a respected figure within the agency, with a long and distinguished career in government service. The firing sent shockwaves through FEMA. They were widely seen as a purge of experienced personnel. The Trump administration offered little explanation for the dismissals. However, sources within FEMA claimed that the fired employees were accused of circumventing leadership. They were allegedly punished for carrying out the acting general counsel's guidance on continuing payments. The firings had a chilling effect on morale within FEMA. Many career officials felt scapegoated and uncertain about their future. The agency, already grappling with the fallout from Noem's directive and DOGE's involvement, was now paralyzed by fear. Employees were afraid to make decisions, fearing further repercussions. The firings exacerbated existing tensions between career officials and political appointees. Many career staff viewed the dismissals as a politically motivated attack. They believed it was an attempt to punish those who dared to question the administration's policies. This erosion of trust further hampered FEMA's ability to function effectively. It raised serious concerns about the agency's ability to respond to future disasters. The involvement of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, in FEMA's operations has raised significant concerns. DOGE was established with a mandate to streamline government operations and eliminate waste. However, critics argue that its foray into FEMA's domain is misguided and potentially dangerous. DOGE's lack of experience in disaster management and humanitarian aid is a major cause for concern. The agency's personnel, primarily composed of tech experts and data analysts, lack the on-the-ground experience necessary to make informed decisions about complex disaster response efforts. Furthermore, DOGE's focus on efficiency and cost-cutting could lead to critical oversights and potentially jeopardize lives in future disasters. The granting of a FEMA badge to Edward Corristine, a DOGE employee, raised additional red flags. Corristine, a former SpaceX engineer with no prior experience in disaster management, was granted access to sensitive FEMA data, including information about disaster preparedness plans and critical infrastructure vulnerabilities. This move sparked outrage among FEMA officials, who questioned Corristine's qualifications and the potential security risks posed by his access to confidential information. The Trump administration's decision to task DOGE with reviewing FEMA's operations has been met with widespread skepticism and apprehension.